I'd like to welcome Alex Klesham, who's the team leader of Groundworks Green Doctors. They offer free and impartial energy advice to help us all to stay warm and save money and live far more greener lives. And their energy efficiency tips are a great starting point for all of us in reducing our carbon footprint. And they especially cover not only homeowners, but tenants as well. So over to Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello there. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Alex. Brief background. I've been in the energy world for about 15 years. So I worked for British Gas for about 11 years, and then 4 years a few miscellaneous energy companies. I've worked in billing departments. I've trained out new employees, helped people who are struggling, like vulnerable customers. Help people when they've moved home, make sure they've got the bills when they move home or close their accounts down. So effectively, any questions you've got energy bills, I like to think I'm the expert on it, but I do come across some interesting ones. So I'm also worried saying that, you're all going to go at the end, oh, I've had my bill. Can you help me with this? I charge biscuits, so really complex ones, hobnobs, but if it's simple, Jaffa cakes. So that's my tier pricing there. So I joined Groundwork back in September, so I'm the team manager there, and I'm part of a team called the Green Doctors. And what I really loved about it is that the thing I found British Gas didn't really have was an option where we could go to somebody's home and help them with their bills, or go, here's some advice we can give you about how you can save money through energy saving measures. And that's exactly what the Green Doctors do. So I've kind of landed in a job which I've sort of been working towards all these years, which is great. So the Green Doctors are part of a charity called Groundwork. They've been around for about 30 years. They're across all of Britain. I just work in the London section, tiny little area. So it's an environmental charity, work in community to help people, increase confidence and skills, improve their health, well-being, make the community safer and greener. So this is our green energy program. So it's been around for about 16 years, helping households in London. Just that we do have Green Doctors across the country, but I said I just work in the London area. So we work in partnership with London boroughs, housing associations and other organisations to help deliver free phone consultations, home visits, where we give advice on bills and provide referrals to further services to improve health and well-being of residents. So how warm should my home be? Now this is kind of really, it's circumstantial. So all I'm going to be giving here is just, you do what you think works for you. I'm not here to tell you about you must do this and this will save you money. If you feel you've got to have your house at 24 to 27 degrees for health reasons, you do that. But then we can find other ways you can sort of help reduce your energy bills overall by finding other ways you can reduce your energy. But blue sky worlds, ideally a temperature of 18 to 21 degrees is suitable for the majority of people. So what uses the most energy at home? So I don't know if everyone can see that, but it's a pie chart and some options at the top. So lighting, cooking, heating, hot water, and small electric items. Now I don't have any fancy guess up where you go onto a website. So what I was going to do is just a show of hands, make it interactive. So 60%, which of the ones at the top there do you think uses the most energy? Who thinks it is lighting? Okay, cooking, heating, straight up there, hot water, small electrical items. Okay, it is heating. Okay, it's a bit obvious that one, I guess. 24%, so we've got lighting, cooking, I suppose you've got an Argo, you can push it up a bit. Hot water, small electrical, I think it's safe to say it's hot water, yep. 7%, so we're out of options here. So lighting, cooking, small electrical items. So when you go to bed, how many things are left on? Is your computer left on? Is your PlayStation, Xbox left on? Is your internet still on? Is your TV left on standby? It's amazing how much money you can save just by turning things off the switch. It's nice having the internet up and running when you wake up in the morning, especially if you're working from home, and you can just roll out of bed, grab the laptop, and get to work. Not that I'm talking from personal experience, of course, on that one. But ideally, if the only things really should be on at night in theory would be your fridge freezer, maybe a phone charger. But that's if you're really trying to save as much money as possible. So 6%, we're left with lighting and cooking. So lighting comes at 6% and cooking is only 3%. How can I keep warm and save money? It's like, who wants to be a millionaire? The $1 million question, or pound question, sorry. So easy tips to save energy at home. Now, some of these are very basic, so I apologize if you know these already. Some of you will know, I know this already, and some of you will go, I didn't know that one. So improved energy efficiency of your home, learn what easy actions can reduce energy usage at home. Smart meters. I'm not going to go into the smart meter conversation yet, because some people love them, some people absolutely hate them. They're very, very Marmite. So heat wasted from poorly insulated homes. So you potentially lose 25% of your heating through the roof or attic, 35% through walls, 15% through the floor, and 25% through windows and doors. Again, blue sky world, all your home would be perfectly insulated, so you wouldn't lose any heating at all. But that's not always the case. So, draft excluders. So a lot of these we install, the green doctors, when they come do a home visit, or if you have a phone call, we can send them out to you. We can send out draft excluders, which you can pop into the window, draft proofing for the letterbox, draft excluders indoors. We don't send the really nice ones, send mind the gap. We've got the ones in the middle where the screwdrivers go, and there's the ones we send out. We also have this special film which goes over windows, and that keeps some of the heat in. So a lot of the time we're working with the best that we've got in those situations. If you're very lucky to have a wood-burning stove or coal fire, if you're like me and from Wales and everybody has coal fires, chimney balloons, and radiator panels. So the radiator panels we hand out to residents when we go to people's homes, and again we can send them out. Chimney balloons, there are options there, but I'm like, we're nowhere near qualified to take your whole chimney apart and put a chimney balloon up there. Then the usuals and LED light bulbs, and you can get these special plugs which automatically put your items on standby. Home improvement grants and schemes. I know a lady asked about this earlier on, like how can I get grants? Now there are loads of, before I go into, there are loads of grants available. The criteria for them are different, so I'm just going to give you some very basic overall. So I can't say, right, you will be eligible for this. I don't know your personal circumstances. All I can say is you ask the grants people. The worst they can say is no. And best case they say is yes. So the Mayor of London Warmer Home Programme. Has anybody heard of this scheme? A few people. I hadn't heard of it even till fairly recently. So effectively, you may be eligible up to £25,000 worth of grant funding to cover the installation of energy efficiency measures, such as low carbon heating system, insulation and heat pumps. And this is really for people who own their homes or rent privately. I guess if you're renting privately, then you've got to go for your landlord or council. So you may be eligible if, and then there's the usual household income, if your property has a certain energy performance certificate. There's lots of details in it, which I'm not going to go into now. But it's worthwhile checking these things out. Every grant has its own set of criteria. So I said it's worthwhile checking them out. I know I'm skipping ahead here, but if you do use our scheme, we can go through grants that are available with you, and we can help you with the application forms as well. So there's a warmer home scheme, as well. Yeah, it's actually the same bits really. Green Homes Grant. Now I believe this is run by Lambeth. This is the Lambeth Borough, I believe. No, it is not. Southwark. Okay. See, London, I just thought it was one big town. Then I moved here, and it's like, no, it's not. It's lots of little towns. So it's the so we will ignore that one. Oh, it is useful. Oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. There's me assuming there. Okay. So, yes, effectively, it's same as for household income less than 30 grand, but you may be able to get help with underfloor insulation, double glazing, smart heating controls, loft and roof insulation, draft proofing, etc. When you've made note of that, let me know and I'll go on to the next slide. I believe these are going to be sent out to you anyway. They're going to be on the website, but has everybody got what they need from that? Groovy. Energy Saving Trust. Now, warm homes. Okay, so these people will come to your home and they'll give a recommendation of a package of improvements to make your home more energy efficient. You may need to provide evidence of your household income at this stage. Also, the installation will be completed by a approved and trusted subcontractor at no cost to the householder, and the Warm Homes team will be at hand to support you through the process. So the numbers at the top, and I'll read that out for you all. 0808 196 8255. Again, like all the others, try. If they say no, they say no, but at least you've tried. And they may change their the eligibility criteria regularly, so it's worthwhile checking in every now and then. So have we got a note of that? Okay, energy saving tips. Some of these are going to be like, obviously, but some of them like, okay, I didn't really think of doing it. I didn't think that would make much of a difference. So if you're too hot, turn down the temperature. Close your curtains at night. Try not to leave the TV on standby. Turn off all lights when you go to bed. Only boil as much water as you need in the kettle. Wash your clothes at 30 degrees. You can get cold clothes wash shampoo stuff, I can't think of the word, which works at cold temperatures. So I guess if you can find that, maybe worth using that, but again, totally up to you. Have shorter showers. That one's possible for me. I like a long shower. Don't leave the tap running when brushing your teeth. It's amazing how much money you could save by just turning the tap off when you don't need it, which is kind of an obvious thing to say, thinking about it. Understanding your energy bills. Okay. So I've the next few slides, I've put up an example of a bill, and I've put some information which I hope you would find useful. At the end of this, if you have any specific questions around the bills, please come and talk to me, but I'll go through this, and hopefully it'll give you an idea. If you're having troubles with your own bills, maybe this will help you find some of the answers you need. So at the top, this tells you what the fuel is. So either say your electric or your gas bill. Here it tells you the dates the bill covers. So this one's from the 5th of July to the 5th of October, and it was sent on the 7th of October. The reason I've put that on there, I've seen bills where it could say 5th of July 21 to 5th of October 21, and they've only sent it out now for some reason. So it's always worthwhile checking the dates of your bill. This then is the information of how much your bill is. If they're going to be taken out, it's going to tell you when they're going to be taking it out. If you pay a set amount on direct debit, it'll say we'll continue to take your payments as normal, or it may say we need to increase your payments, and they'll be in this little box there. This box here will give you a summary of the entire bill. So if it feels like mine is like 4 or 5 pages, this is a summary. So before this bill was made, my last bill was £100.71. I've used £243.93 of electric. I paid the £100.71, so I'm that nice zero balance. And now I owe them £243.93. So also on this page is useful information when you're comparing your energy bills. So on the left there is usually going to be your current tariff, and that will tell you how you're paying, when your tariff comes to an end, if there's a cancellation fee. The other important bit on here is estimated annual usage. Now when you're going onto comparison websites, it will say, do you know how much your energy bills are? Use the kilowatts, because that is going to be a lot more accurate than saying I use £50 a month. You may use £50 a month. When I look at your bills and find you're actually £200 in debit, that says to me that £50 isn't covering what you're using. So use the kilowatts on the bill. And then it's again telling you how much that 3,672 kilowatts is in pounds and pence. Compare our tariffs. If there are any other tariffs that may be cheap, it'll be in that box, but also signpost you to where you can find out alternative tariffs. In this case, it's on the website. And then questions then would be, this is how you can contact us. Some bills, it's very difficult to find the contact us. They want to try and hide and avoid phone calls and emails as much as possible. So here is kind of a breakdown of the summary I showed you. And so as I said, the earlier on, my last bill was £100.71p, and this is now showing me the breakdown of my latest bill. So the reason I've kind of showing this slide is some people look at this thinking, oh crumbs, that's really, really, really confusing. What the heck's going on here? What this means is between the 5th of July and the 7th of July, I was on 1 meter, and then I had a brand new meter put in on the 8th of July, and that shows on there. So if you see a reading of all the zeros suddenly appear on your account, check the meter serial number, because it may mean you've had a brand new meter put in, or it's hit 999 them. Go around to the next bit. You'll also see breaks on there if you've changed tariffs. So in April, when the next price changes are going to be coming in, you'll see a load of, you see one readings and sets of rates up to about March 31st, and then the 1st of April there'll be another set. And if you have a smart meter, take a reading on the day. If you don't have a smart meter, you don't have to call your energy supplier on the 1st of April when these tariff changes. They can backdate the readings. If you call them on the day, you probably won't be able to get hold of them because everybody's going to be calling them. You can call them a week later and they can put readings in from last week, last month, whenever. That's totally fine. Then it's got the how much the total is, any adjustments. If you're lucky, all of us have had that lovely £66 come off our bills. Other things could be the Warm Home Discount Scheme. Have you heard of the Warm Home Discount Scheme? So it's £140 from the government. All energy providers did all offer it. It's this year it's changed. It's now done for the Department of Work and Pensions. So if you're on a particular benefit or on pensions, you automatically qualify for this. I believe it's £150, and that comes taken off your electrical gas bill between September and March. Previously, you could apply for it through your energy company, but now it's all done through the government. And then any payments you may have made, it's listed on this page here. So effectively, this is there's an itemized summary of your bill. It's like when you go to a restaurant, you've got a list of all the foods you've bought, and then this is how we came to this figure. And then again, this is general stuff, questions about your bill. Again, when you're changing suppliers, if they can't find your details for whatever reason, they may ask for something called a meter point reference number. It's on your bill, and it'll look like what I've got on there. So in this case, it's the bottom number, and the gas is 11 numbers, and that's the unique serial number of the pipe going into your property of the electrical gas. So that when you have that, that's unique to you. So you can't put that number in. If it goes to somebody else, either put the wrong digit in or they've got the wrong address, but it should be unique to you. And then very importantly, smell gas, 0800, 111, 999, doesn't matter who you're with, that goes through to National Grid. And then if you have a power cut, just dial 105. It goes through to whoever looks after the electric in the area. You can report a power cut, and they can give you hopefully a time frame when the power is going to come back on. And then if you're not getting anywhere with the energy company, you can go to the Ombudsman, and they'll give you details on there how you can go to the Ombudsman or raise a complaint. Smart meters. So show of hands, who has a smart meter? Okay, next question. Who likes smart meters? Who hates smart meters?
I don't hate the smart meters, I hate the whole hype over smart meters.
Why do you hate smart meters?
I think it's a complete unbelievable waste that people are ripping out perfectly good meters to put in a smart meter just for the sake of it. I also had an incredible gas leak when my smart meter was put in. My whole house was nearly blown up. And the man who actually from the gas, from the national gas, who had to come remedy, he said I was the 5th person that day. He had to come and correct a smart meter installation. He said he thought it was the biggest scam that this country has ever put itself into, and he just went out shaking his head and saying, we have mountains of perfectly good gas meters being thrown into landfill, and just for the sake of these smart meters. Yep, if your meter has come to the end of its life, fine, get a smart meter. Yes. Not go for one just for the sake of it. Plus, I keep on having my electricity company say to me, we have not been able to read your smart meter this month. Can you please send us a reading?
That is extremely common, and I hear that a heck of a lot. And I'm not going to go into my British Gas mode and just defend the smart meter and everything that happened there. So that is what we call a worst case scenario with smart meters. So, and she's not a plant. Yeah, when they go bad, it's one of those things they go horrendously wrong. But I see most of you like the smart meters, which is fantastic.
What do people like about them?
Ask them. Ask. What do you guys like about smart meters? Go on then.
When we had one in my old house before we moved here, I think it might have just been for the electricity. I didn't know it did. I don't think our one did the gas at that time, about 10 years ago. But once my kids got into it, they started going around switching off all the things that they don't usually, because they wanted to get the electricity use down to zero. So it really helped focus on reducing electricity use, basically.
That's the best case scenario there. Oh, we got gentleman with the gap. I will do one more because I'm conscious of time.
The key thing is you can see exactly how much you're using and how much you're spending on each appliance. So you turn it on and you can see you've gone up to this much you're using, and you turn it off. Or if you put something on for 20 minutes and switch it off, like a tumble dryer, you see exactly what it's cost you and what it hasn't, and that changes your behaviour as a result.
So it kind of links into the previous gentleman's talk about how can we sort of reduce our carbon footprint. The smart meters kind of do that by its behavioural changes. You've seen how much things are costing to run, and that's where the smart meters can help you out. So thank you very much for answering that. So smart meters, they help you get accurate bills when they work and get the signals through, of course. And they can help you set a budget. So on the monitors, you can set I only want to use like £5 a day. You can set on there, it gives you like an alert, okay, well, you're now approaching this limit there. So I've very briefly go through these, but this is to give you an idea. If you're not aware of this, on your online account, you can actually see the result of all those readings, and it gives you a graph of how much you've used. It gives you in kilowatts and pounds and pence. Pounds and pence is based on your unit rates. This is what it is for me. It's going to be completely different for you, of course. So this is an annual view. So over the whole year, you can see how the highest month would be, lowest month, etc. Lowest month is actually when it wasn't given readings, so it's a bit inaccurate. But so what you can see is, okay, well, I can see exactly which months I've used the most energy, what months I've used the less energy, what was the difference apart from the weather, was anything else different there? And with this, then you can kind of break it down then. So in the month, so which days are you using the most? It's going to be usually Monday to Friday. That's going to be the days where you can use the most there. Sorry, weekends even. I work from home, so it's all the time for me. But I mean, my kind of point with all this is you can deep dive, you can see what's going on with it. And if you aren't home and the house is empty and you look and you think, well, hang on, we've used £5 and nobody's home all day. Why have we used £5? What's going on? So fuel prices inevitably are going up, unfortunately, even with interventions. We need to be prepared for this. So some points to avoid fuel debt, improve energy efficiency of your home, check if you're eligible for any grants or discounts, check if you're claiming all the benefits you're entitled to. If you're unable to pay your bill, contact your supplier and let them know. They will help you, and when you do contact them, have a meter reading if you don't have a smart meter, because they can use that then to give you an accurate bill. Provide your supplier with monthly meter readings to ensure you receive an accurate bill. So the Green Doctors, if you choose to use our service, so they help you save energy at home, help you understand your energy bills, for example, confusing or incorrect bills, help you to access grants and financial support for energy debt. We also do water bills as well. So as in, if you have a high water bill, we can help you apply for a grant which potentially would wipe that bill off. Help you register for the water discounts, priority service register, and other discounts. Have you heard of the priority service register? So it's a scheme where you have children at the age of 5, over, I believe it's 65, if you have a disability or you're a carer. You tell your energy provider. You will have benefits such as you may go down a slightly different debt path. If you have a disability, you are in debt, they won't install a pay-as-you-go meter if it's where you can't reach. They'll find alternative ways to help you sort of pay that money back. If there's a planned power cut and you have medical equipment, they'll bring a generator around. Or if it does go off, they'll try and bring a heater around for you to use. So Green Doctors currently available in these areas with Lambeth, Brent, Barnet, Ealing, Hammersmith and Fulham, Kensington and Chelsea, Westminster, Hounslow, Harrow, Hillingdon, Southwark, not Southwark as people keep correcting me, Newham and City of London. Camden only council tenants. But these are changing all the time. So I know this was updated this month, can't believe it's January already, but get in touch and we can always see what we can do to help you. So the eligibility criteria, low income below 16,190 or in receipt of any means tested benefit. Energy costs more than 10% of my household income. Now, funnily enough, the classification for fuel poverty is if you spend more than 10% of your income on fuel bills, and I think that's probably everyone in this room is doing that at the moment. So technically, we're all in fuel poverty. If you have any long-term health conditions, if you have a disability, people over 60, or households with children under 5. But I said, just give us a call, explain the circumstances, and we can decide if we can help you or not. And hopefully we will. Don't like turning people away. So during the call and visit, is there another one? Yep. I mean, on average, it's going to be between 45 and 60 minutes, and the home visit between 70 to 90 minutes. Ask you questions about the home, and we'll ask you information about your energy bills. So they'll effectively go around the home with you. They'll fill out this questionnaire, and at the end, then they'll go through this questionnaire with ways you can save money. They'll install energy-saving measures like the draft-proof one I showed you. There's these balloons we can put in the toilet cisterns, big water tank things, and a few various other bits and bobs we've got there. And they said we can signpost you to other support that's available. So if you want to book us, you can give us a call. The details are on there, so leave it up there. You can take a photograph if you want. I've got my laptop with me, so you can register for the website. So if you want to register yourself on the website, you can just do it on my computer and we can get you signed up and we can get somebody calling you in the next few days. That's the website there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. That was great. Look, we've had a few questions in advance, so you haven't seen them, so we're not going to...
Is this Jaffa Cake level or hobnob level?
Oh, serious hobnobs. Is anyone thinking about replacing their cooker at any stage, do you think, coming up? Because one of the questions was, what's the most energy efficient type of hob? Is it gas, electric, ceramic, induction?
I don't know. It's certainly not an Arga. I guess it just comes down to the frequency of you using it. I honestly don't know. I mean, a lot of places, a lot of flats, it's just electric only, so they have no option but to have electric hobs. And I guess really it comes down to the prices of your energy bills, really. If you feel that gas bills are getting high, then you go for the electric cooker. If you feel actually no, it's not too bad, then you go for the gas. I prefer cooking with gas. That's just a personal preference. I'll be up honest, I don't know which would be more efficient. I think it just comes down to personal preference. So apologies for that.
That's all right.
And I call myself an expert
you've missed
in energy bills. Yeah, missold like most energy companies do.
Right, other questions? Throw them in. Beatrice.
This is really, really practical, and maybe the smart meters owners would be helpful. I've had this question in my mind for a long time. Is it what's best in terms of energy spending to turn on the light? I've had arguments on that, so I'm really interested. I come into a room, I turn the light on, I come out again. Do I turn it off or do I leave it on because it costs more money to on and off, to turn things on and off? I'm just really curious. Does anyone knows the answer to this? Is it better on and off, or is it better
How often
to
you go
leave
in and
it
out
on?
of the room, I guess.
Well, no, I'm just.
I mean, if it's like a bathroom, I would say turning it off. You probably wouldn't need. You wouldn't have to go back in for a few hours, so just turn it off and on as you need it. If it's like a living room, you may just leave it on from as soon as it gets dark and just leave it on.
Yeah, theory that it costs more to turn something on or to leave it on.
But it also depends on the light bulb you have.
I see.
So
yes,
if you have an
of course.
LED, well, energy-saving light bulb, then it would be, you barely notice the difference.
Yeah. Okay. So turning something on doesn't take more electricity.
No.
Basically.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. And
That's right.
one more question in the same style. Electric kettle or gas kettle? What's
Gas
what
kettle.
is it? Gas kettle?
Well,
Why?
mean a
Do you mean like a
kettle
saucepan?
on
What's
the
the
gas
most
hob?
efficient? Yeah, on a gas hob. Yes.
I'd go for the electric kettle.
Uh,
They just said on the radio only last week that gas was more efficient than electric. They said it on the news at 5.
Okay.
This is
Thank you.
awkward.
Thank you.
We have to believe Evan Davis then. All right. Question here.
My name is Joy Jackson. I just wondered if you had any comments about the efficacy of the flow rate of 60 as opposed to 75 on your gas boiler.
I'm not technically knowledgeable when it comes to things like that. So I'm not a gas boiler engineer. So I wouldn't be able to answer that. I'm sorry.
One of the other seminars we've got coming up, that would be a question because we have air source heat pump engineers who were boiler engineers, and they'll be able to advise you about the pros and cons of lowering the flow rate and reducing the temperature of the hot water, because that's the two things that you can do, and the merits. Certain boilers you can do it with, other types of gas boilers you can't. But that would be one of the questions for the engineers that we've got presenting one of the other seminars.
The only thing I will add to that, depending on your type of boiler, sometimes it's better to have the heating on all day at a low temperature than have it on at, come 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. It depends on your boiler. So that's where I'd say you ask an engineer to come around and they'll be able to give you advice on the most efficient way of using your boiler.
Other questions? Yep.
I was told by a BT engineer that I shouldn't turn my internet router off because it then makes it run slower when it starts up again. So I should leave it on all the time because every time I turn it off, it's thinking it doesn't need to run so fast. So my speeds will go down.
I mean, the amount of energy they use is minimal. It does take a while to load them on, which is why I don't turn mine off. So it's on. It'll probably take another 5-10 minutes, depending on the router, to connect. That's the same, I guess. You turn your phone off and turn the phone off and burn it back on again. It's not going to connect straight away to the network straight away. It's going to take a moment to connect. Again, it's personal preference on how you want to do it. I said I keep mine on all the time, and it doesn't use a huge amount of electric.
From my experience, I would say if you were on old copper wires, on the old ADSL internet, then when the modem switches on, it does spend a period of adapting, and it measures the copper performance down to your local exchange, and will start to improve the way it works over sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes a few hours, and the speed will slowly come up as it kind of tweaks the way it talks to the exchange. But that's on the old copper wires. On the fibre, no, straight in. So the amount of electricity you're saving is negligible, in my experience.
I agree.
Yeah. Other questions? Yeah.
Hi. For the gadget where you plug something into the little gadget and then plug that into the socket and it switches off, I've got a couple of those. They might have been quite cheap. There we go. But they kind of have an annoying clicking noise all night, like that. When they just like there's a little clock timer going around and it's annoying noise. And I just thought that's probably using energy as well. So is it? I don't know if it's saving money or not. You know.
Is that one of the mechanical ones? That
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the cheapest one there was. So.
Yeah.
Get what you pay for.
But as far as you know, they're pretty.
Well,
they're pretty good.
This is something that may be of interest to people. Something I bought because I'm a slight nerd. I'm also with the lady over there, and I'm slightly skeptical about smart meters because I'm waiting for the software to settle down, etc., etc. These are smart plugs or smart sockets. You plug them into any socket, and then you plug an appliance in. You can remotely switch it on and off. That's one trick you can do. So if you forget to switch something off and it's plugged into this, you can sit in the pub using their heating and then with your phone remotely switch off whatever was plugged in.
Is that
here.
like the Hive system?
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
This one also tells you how much power it's using in real time. So you can put your tariff in, so however much you're paying per kilowatt hour, and whatever you plug in here, it will frighten you. It should come with a defibrillator attached, really. I plugged it into my electric heater that I have in my office, which is a 2 kilowatt heater. So if it was on for an hour, it would use 2 kilowatt hours. So that's 2 units at 36 pence. I plugged it in and I started looking at the phone, and it extrapolates forward saying, well, if you've got this unit on, in a year, you will use £6,672 worth of electricity. Okay, so it's kind of a bit of a shock. Thankfully, the heater switches off and then switches on, so you kind of aggregate it. But it will tell you over a period of time what you've used. You can get all the graphs, you can kind of look at it. It's kind of useful because it then means that you can go around all your appliances and put them on if you want to and test them. So you can find out how much it does cost your washing machine to do a load. You just put it on, run the load, look at it on your phone. At the end of it, it says that was 18 pence or 50 pence or whatever it happens to be. So you can give it to the kids and they will go around the whole house and they will start measuring everything. So it's in real time that you can do it. You don't need the smart meter for it. You can put it on anything. It will take a full 13 amp load. So that it's a way of starting to monitor your own usage. But just be warned, it is frightening when it stares you at the face on your mobile app how much it's costing. So those are one of the devices. Quite clever. All right, other questions before we... Yeah. Well, this one's made by Eve. If you are thinking of buying any what they call smart home devices, because you can now change your radiator valves from the old-fashioned ones that you turn to ones that you can control from your phone anytime, and you can program them up to switch on, switch off when you leave the room, all these kind of things on a radiator by radiator basis. You can do it with your lights, you can do it with loads of stuff around the home. I mean, all too much, some of it. But if you are thinking of buying anything, there's a new software standard that was agreed by all the big manufacturers, the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons, etc., that came out towards the end of last year. And that's called Matter. And there's a heavy promotion on Matter. The Matter standard is a software standard, so it allows different manufacturers of smart devices in the house to talk to each other. So you can start to control things a little bit more on a granular level. So if you're thinking of buying anything like that, all I advise is make certain it is Matter compatible. M-A-T-T-E-R. Yeah.
I just had a couple of contributions towards a couple of things that people had said, just if it's any help. In terms of gas versus electric, generally electric's going to be more efficient, but the thing is, and people may or may not know this from their bills, is that gas is 3 to 5 times cheaper than electricity. So even if a gas appliance is less efficient, it may well be cheaper. But obviously, if you're in a flat that doesn't have gas, someone asked about hobs. An induction hob is the most efficient type of electric hob, but you might have to change pots and pans because they have to have a conductive or an inductive pots and pans to use them. Another thing was just on this lady's question about gas boiler flow temperatures. Definitely you can, I don't know specifically what your question was, but you can definitely turn down the flow as long as your radiators are big enough to still support the heat getting into your home. The principle of it is that, if you have your flow temperature turned up very high, then your boiler will come on at like full blast and heat briefly and then turn itself off, rather than if you have it set to a lower flow temperature, it can be on for longer but not at such an intense rate, and it's generally more efficient for a boiler to run at a lower temperature, even if it needs to run for a bit longer. But it doesn't work with every boiler. It's primarily for combi boilers, but it can work on system boilers as well. But there are other complications. If you have a hot water tank, for example, they do need to stay above a certain temperature for water health reasons. I would say, in general, gas engineers are not brilliant at this kind of information, not least because a lot of the boiler manufacturers have been giving bad advice for a long, long time as well. But in principle, the reasoning behind this is that everybody's had to have, or all boilers have had to be condensing boilers since 2006, and a boiler only condenses when the water coming back to it in the central heating system is at less than 55 degrees. So if you set it to 75, it may still be at 65 when it comes back to the boiler, whereas you set it at 60, say it might be down to 50 by the time it comes back to the boiler, and that's when the boiler's condensing, and that's when it's more efficient. So that's what this kind of public information communication has been in the last kind of couple of months, because the lower your boiler temperature is set, the less gas hopefully you're using and the cheaper it is. Just one question to you, if I could, about...
That was amazing advice. Thank you.
That's why we're here.
Sharing best practice. I love it.
Just one question to you about smart meters, if I could. I'm definitely a fan of them. I don't have one yet, and for the reasons that everybody gave, I would get them. I think tracking things is great. Just in a quite specific circumstance, is it true that if you have a smart meter, your supplier can turn it to a prepaid meter if you fall badly enough behind in your bills?
So there are two types of smart meters. There's generation 1, which is called SMET 1, and then there's generation 2, which is SMET 2. Doesn't really matter so much these days. And the reason I'm giving that information is they can change it from a credit. It has an option to change them from pay-as-you-go to credit. Yes, they press a button within 24 hours, it can change. This is something that's been highlighted a lot for our team. People are coming in with questions about it. I really don't agree with it at all. We should be giving notice to everybody should be getting notice like this is what's happening. I think the way it used to work in the sort of old days, to get to the point where we have to install a pay-as-you-go meter, you have to go to the courts, get a warrant, get a locksmith, potentially the police there as well. You're breaking into somebody's home and installing the meter. Because of the time it takes to get to court, that's why it took so long, and you'd have loads of letters and communications from the energy companies. Now they can just do it instantly. And I do disagree with it, and I do think the government needs to step in and regulate it. But I have a feeling that they're just going to know it's not our problem. You guys sort it out. Like this whole smart meter situation. When they first came out, the system should have been universal. So if you were British Gas and you went to EDF, you should have been able to use that smart meter. It should work as a smart meter when you went to EDF. It didn't. Everyone did their own thing because the government said, we don't care how you do it, just get those smart meters in. They started doing that in 2011. It wasn't until 2019 they started bringing a universal system in, which is the SMETS 2 Generation 2. So now if you change companies, it will still work as a smart meter. I don't know if it's out yet, but I was working on a project where you could change energy companies within 5 days. Currently, I think it takes about up to 21 days, but you could change within 5 days, and then even be able to change any suppliers within 24 hours, which is amazing. But then the bad side of it is exactly the story you've just said. It's about the pay-as-you-go, and I do think things like that need to be raised to. She's gone to say to your MP, but she's scarpered. Because it needs to be brought up. I completely disagree with it. They can't turn it off remotely. If they're turning the meter off manually, if they're turning the gas off, they have to be at the property to physically turn it off. Yes. Yeah, so in that circumstance, yes, but I can't go onto your account and go, I don't like this guy, off it goes. I can't just press a button and do it. I know it's a very facetious thing for me to say, but you can't.
But we're dealing with energy companies, so the law is a debatable issue. Yeah. Okay.
That's one of those rabbit holes I won't go into. So you have your opinions on it, I've got my opinions, and yeah.
Yeah. Technically, it's possible, and in the wrong hands. Okay. Good.
There's a question from the gentleman on the right there.
Just a follow-on from this thought, because that was still not. I'm actually just thinking about adapting to a smart meter. I've really struggled to actually get any energy company, the current one or the previous ones, to be interested in installing them. But my problem is actually, I've always feel like I'm in credit in all the bills throughout the year, like 3 or 4 payments ahead. So I feel like I am on a prepayment, even if I'm in a contract. So is there anything that can be done in that sense?
There is.
That's one of the appeals of having the smart meter for me.
So you don't need a smart meter from what I'm about to say. So the way the bills work, in theory, they'll look, all right, we think you're going to use, say, £1,200 over 12 months. That'd be 100. This is Blue Sky World. So you use £100 every month. Now, there'll be periods of the year where you use £150. There'll be periods where you'll be using only £50. But the idea is at the end of that 12 months, you are at 0. That's the theory. Things change. Have a child, person moves out, someone moves in, you get new technology in, prices go up, prices go down, loads of things check. That's why I say it's Blue Sky World. Now I pay what's called a variable direct debit. So the energy company gets the reading at the end of the month, and then I just pay for whatever I've used. So in theory, I'm always at 0 because I'm just paying for what I'm using. Now, the system you've got, it is good from the point of view that you can build up that credit over summer, and over winter then you can kind of use that fuel because you've technically already paid for it. So everyone here should really be in credit because you've paid that extra amount over summer, and then when it comes to March, most of that credit, again, in theory, would have disappeared. And if you are in credit, energy companies have to send that money back to you at the end of that 12-month review of that direct debit. I mean, the 12 months varies when you set that payment plan up with them, but they have to refund any credits on your account at the end of those 12 months. Yeah, you can change the direct debit anytime.
Go up, and then I just go on the app and turn it down until it gets to that's below where we'd recommend it, and I keep pushing it down, and it says, that's the minimum. I was like, great, that's what I'm going to pay. You can vary that.
It can take them a year so if it's a change of circumstances, it takes a year for the system to realise that you're not using as much or maybe using more fuel. Difficult to do that when you're changing companies every year. That it's very difficult.
They do try and keep you in more credit than you need to be, though. So
they do, and that's where the conspiracy theory comes in. Where
stay on top of it.
We're earning, you're earning interest on my money. Energy companies do not earn interest on credit at all. That is incorrect.
I don't agree with that. They effectively do.
This is where I get eggs thrown at me and tomatoes and stuff. I make an omelette at the end of it.
Most of them are funded through debt, so they have interest payments. So if they have cash, then that's lower. So that I don't agree with that.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. Thank you, Alex. That was very informative. Alex is going to be around afterwards, but thank you for
I'm a nice
your
big
session
target
there.
if you want to throw fruit and veg at me.
We now have somebody from an amazing department in Lambeth called the Climate Change and Sustainability Team in Lambeth Council. It's wonderful to know that a council has such a department. Cassidy, if you'd like to come down, she is the Programmes and Partnership Lead within that department, and Cassidy's agreed just to talk about some of the things Lambeth are up to that may be of interest. And she comes bearing gifts.
A little shorter than everyone else. So I know it's towards the end of the night, so I don't want to talk too long, but it's been brilliant listening to these discussions and hearing the good dialogue and the different presentations. It was great to see all the measures that were put up of things that you can do around the home, because we have just in Lambeth launched an initiative where we're trying to provide energy savings kits for households that are really struggling with their energy bills. So I brought 2 kits tonight. If there is anyone that would like to come and have a look and take one home, but I'll just briefly show what we've got here. But what you can see on there, we've giving out LED light bulbs for people to change those out from your incandescent bulbs. We've also got the draft excluders, which we saw up there as well, and radiator reflector panels. And we also have another kind of draft excluder tape. So for some of the doors that maybe a little bit have larger or smaller gaps, we've tried to include those both in there. We've also put together a leaflet that are with the packs, which give an overview of some of the things that have already been discussed tonight around the different kinds of things that you can do for energy savings. These are available in all of our libraries. So we've created a warm space network. So all of our libraries are now certified as warm spaces. People can go there if they are struggling with their energy bills and heating and they need a place to stay warm. We're also working with our voluntary and community sector to get some of those places certified. These kits are also being distributed through some of the food banks as well. So I think just, again, really great to hear the discussions that are happening, and just a flag that these are now available. So if you do, tell your neighbors or friends, or if anyone is struggling, to please come and get those kits. And I don't want to take up too much more of the time, but we do also, in Lambeth, we've also got a newsletter which gives an overview of kind of all the stuff that we're doing across our own climate action plan, and the different kinds of energy schemes that are available. And at the council as well, we're also working on doing insulation on 1,000 homes by March through some funding that we got from central government. So happy to chat through with anyone if you have any questions about any of the policies that we have at the council at any point.